September of 1996. And at the time I was in a relationship, which produced 2 children. So the second in 2000. Shortly thereafter is when I made the decision. So for me, single motherhood, as I've said to you before, was by choice. And so that was when I made the decision that, that's what it was going to be. And I took the step in 2001. I mentioned 2001 is when I left that relationship. And I was, dating for a while. 2008, I had my 3rd child. And, so she's now 7 years old. And I was involved in that relationship for just about 7 years. Unfortunately, that ended not by choice, but, circumstances. My last child's father passed away 3 years ago, this month actually. Next week will be 3 years. And so here I am again, back to single motherhood. Well, I am a single mom, so I am going to want to say yes to that. However, according to society, there is often a negative connotation attached to that word, single mom. And so if we're referring to that, then I'm going to have to say no. Because whilst I am single, according to the government, there's nothing negative about my situation. There's nothing negative about a situation when you make choices that are for the better interest of yourself and your children. And sometimes those choices may put you in a position where you become single. And it means that you are providing a healthier environment for your children. It means that they're going to be happier. It means that you are going to be happier, and so you're going to be able to function better as their mom. So no. If that is the norm in which we're speaking, I definitely don't fit that, because I don't regret making that choice. He's my daughter's basketball coach. He's quite involved. We have a very good relationship. He's remarried. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. His wife and I, it's a great relationship. Not at all, you see, because it's choices, and for some of us, we do not want to admit the choices we make, and we want to point the finger of blame to the other person. Yes, it was as a result of some things that weren't happening for me, talking about my first relationship, things that, I felt were lacking, things that the relationship I just found wasn't serving me, wasn't heading in the direction where I felt I wanted to head. But the truth is, none of these were new things, okay? A lot of this were things that were there before I had children. And so when I look back, it is the mistake that a lot of us make, thinking that we can change someone. Thinking that, maybe this time it will be different because of me, because, I may, be cause for this change, or, I may be able to influence this person to, to grow in this way. And so I don't blame. I hope they see it. It's not something that I discuss. It's not a discussion. And it's interesting to hear the word power, because I never really view it as me being powerful, But I talk to them about life, and my older 2 children are old enough to realize some things, and to see what it entails to live on a daily basis. And I hope that they take something from seeing how hard I go and my efforts. And I don't stop. I don't believe in stopping I don't believe in quitting, because I posted a video earlier this week on my Facebook, which, talks about that. I often say, if I try something and I fail, what's a failure? You have to have taken something from that situation. So it's a learning experience. And so I just take whatever it is that I learned from that experience onto the next. I will never give up, because if I give up, I for sure can't have anything out of it. Quitting or giving up doesn't yield any results. And so, that alone just keeps me going. There are similarities. I don't want to say follow, because none of it was intentional, okay? But it's interesting how things can happen from one generation to the next. There are even some things that I have made intentional effort not to repeat. With respect to my own daughter, I'm very open, and as she gets older, the older you get, the more mature you become, and the more you can share. And so I hope and I believe that the fact that I have these kinds of conversations with her, you see, I didn't have these kinds of conversations with my mom, because my mom has a more old school Jamaican mentality. You're a child, and we don't have those kinds of conversations. But I'm very open with my children. And so I believe that having that kind of relationship, and also having that very open door policy within our relationship, that I don't believe that these things will be repeated, for the simple fact that it starts with the initial choice. And so I can say that a lot of what I've experienced, all of what I've experienced, is based on choices I made. Hopefully sharing some of these things with her, she will be able to make better choices and therefore not repeat some of those things. I'm not. I took some time for myself after, my boyfriend passed away, 2012. I'd say that I'm ready, but not just yet.
Why not?
I have this conversation with my sisters all the time. It would be interesting to see what it will be like the next time around. I have really gone through serious growth as a person, and when that happens and you really come to be in touch with who you are, I'm at a place where I am not searching, I'm not in a rush, because I'm not about to settle. I know what it's like to have done that in the past, and I'm not doing that again. So when that happens, it happens. I'm very open to it, and I look forward to it. But I'm not about to settle for anything less than what I know I deserve.
Okay.
I listen to motivational things every day, It's a mindset. And so you have to sort of retrain your mind. You have to, retrain the way in which you think about things and think about your situation. I say this, and I say it with the utmost belief and surety that I'm not built to break. I'm not gonna break. There's nothing that's going to break me, because that is life. Life presents situations, different situations. Some are more difficult to deal with than others. That includes tragic ones. But no matter what the situation is, it is still dependent on how we choose to deal with it. Of course, how we choose to deal with it, a lot of us will only deal with it the best way we know how. And so if you're not aware that, you can really retrain your mind and you can really build up your strength, then it breaks us. If we don't have, strong support systems, it may break you too. But I have a regime. I get up every day and I read, something motivational for the first half an hour before I even get out of the bed. And I listen to motivational stuff. I listen to other things. But, thankfully, and it was through a business back in 2009 that I learned about these things. And I learned that I can, teach myself how to rethink. I can train myself and my mind, that there's a better way to deal with things. Out of every single situation, no matter what it is, from job loss to death, out of everything comes good. Out of every situation, every living situation, there's a positive. And if we believe that, then we will look to what the positive is in that situation rather than focus on what appears to be the negative. Well, the first thing is to assess why you're here and try to be true to the situation, because it's not necessarily negative. I frankly think it is better to be single and provide a healthy surrounding and have healthy relationships with your children than to stay in a relationship with somebody that's neither serving you or your children, just because you want to not fit into the quote-unquote stereotype that society wants to place on single motherhood. Okay, what does it mean to be a single mother? It means just that you don't have an everyday partner that resides with you, right? That could be for many reasons. And so for me, like I said, I did that by choice, and choice for things like paying attention to what was taking place in my relationship, having the goals that I had set for myself, things that I knew that I wanted for my children. Yes, I know that these were not overnight things, but I was in that relationship for like 8 years. I felt that was enough time to tell me, based on what had transpired over time, that there's a very slim chance that these things were going to happen. And was I okay with mediocrity? No. Different folks, different strokes. Some people only want but so much for themselves. And that's okay. But that was not okay for me.